The first Capitol rioter to stand trial has finally learned his fate. Guy Reffitt was convicted of 5 felonies, including bringing a gun to the Capitol. Now, yesterday, he was sentenced to more than 7 years in prison. He was turned in to the FBI by his son after his father threatened him by saying, "If you turn me in, you're a traitor, and traitors get shot." Here's what his son Jackson had to say about that.
Have you, throughout any of this process, had any second thoughts about turning him in?
Absolutely not. But it still bears the guilt that he is his own person and he has made his own choices, but he's also been pretty much manipulated into making those choices. And it pains me that he is still responsible for his actions.
So I want you to compare that, though, because on the flip side, Guy's wife had to say what she had to say about the whole thing. Take a listen.
No matter if you're a liberal, if you're an independent, if you're a Republican, this is not okay. This is what this is political persecution. We are patriots. Ashley Babbitt was a patriot. My husband is a patriot. Roseanne Boylan was a patriot. And all I can say is that y'all can all go to hell and I'm going back to Texas.
Wow. So the question is, could you turn in a family member like this, especially given how divided, obviously, the family is? The son believes his dad needs to be held accountable. The wife believes that they're patriots and that they're being wronged. What would you say to this, Jeff?
First of all, that statement.
Right.
Oh, you're going to all go to hell and go back to Texas.
Texas.
Yeah, that really unifies the country. Yeah, that's a unified statement.
My first thing was just like T-shirt sales. As soon as that's
So it makes me sad that the son has more wherewithal than the parents, right? It's supposed to be the other way around. You're supposed to, as a parent, learn from your mistakes, teach your child what you did wrong, and hopefully you don't make those wrongs, right? Al, let's just put it this way to everybody who is on the other side or whatever side you're on. Would your dad have ever said to you at any point of your life, "You're a traitor and traitors get shot"?
Never.
Okay, so, I mean, obviously this person had a different upbringing. These people came up wherever part of the country they're from. Everyone has their own little pockets. It's not how I was raised, right? And if I ever said that to my son, I mean, maybe I need to face the consequences.
Right. I mean, look, we talked about terrorism in our first story. This person is a domestic terrorist, but it also appears that he was a terrorist in his own house. And clearly his wife was somebody that was very sympathetic to his cause. Clearly, right up until the end, she's like, he's a patriot, I'm a patriot. And so she didn't have to worry about getting a shot because she's not a traitor. But if you are on the other side, you are living in under constant threat, Tori, that your dad, who clearly carries a gun everywhere, and clearly is not, selling wolf tickets when he's saying, I will shoot anybody that does not agree with this cause, and clearly his son didn't. So I understand his son was just trying to get out of a toxic situation. I don't even know how much.
His son also was worried, though, too. We have to be crystal clear. We always say on this show, see something, say something. And most of the time, 99.9% of the time, I'm thinking adults, right? Either turning in their child who may become a mass shooter. You know, if you see something wrong with your neighbor, you call the police, obviously with nuance and discernment, please. But in this case, we might see more of this, considering how many people are facing charges. If you're a young adult and you feel like that your parent, because he came to the Capitol that day with a gun, I can't even repeat.
Let me tell you what he said.
Oh, you're going to say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guy was heard on a GoPro. This is why I think this is so important. 7.25 years is good for me. Saying he planned to drag Nancy Pelosi, quote, out by her feet with her head hitting every step on the way down.
And showed up with a gun to do such.
To physically remove the governors of the states, of the lawmakers. That's why you get 7.25 years. And the judge said, you are no patriot. Nothing you did was patriotic. It's terrible.
It's this weird thing that we keep going back and forth about. Is we're looking at this, and thank God we're able to look at it like this, as nothing happened. So we're just talking about, did you have a gun? Where were you? How'd you get there? Did you hit a cop on your way there? Remember the videos that we've seen. These people were, missing, crossing over Congress people by 4 minutes.
40 feet.
Yeah,
40
2-3
feet.
minutes. If Officer Goodman, if he doesn't make that split-second decision, The guys with the zip ties, the guys with the knives, the guys with the guns are now having access to AOC, to Pelosi. All these people that they have had, they literally have targets made of their face. They are now face to face with them, and there's no police in sight. There's no help coming. So we could be talking about a totally different thing.
Well, on the flip side, isn't it, again, I don't want to take away from the vengeance and the success that needed to take place with the people that orchestrated 9/11. So I'm really elated that that individual is dead, the Al-Qaeda. But at the same time, I'm more fearful going to a movie theater. I'm more fearful stepping outside my home. Domestic terrorism, right?
Yep. And they called this man on the stand a domestic terrorist. He thought he'd be a big shot and go first. And they're like, no, you are a threat to this nation, to our democracy and government. You're right. When you said, are we safer? I go, I don't know. I'm going to a concert tonight, and I'm a little bit more worried about that, to be super honest with you. Domestic terrorism is more on my mind.
And that's kind of the point.
Right. And revenge is more about 9/11. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No,
Revenge and justice, yes, but I think the new terrorism, and we're finally starting to talk about it on the show, it's happening here.
Right.
When I was at Nordstrom Rack the other day, that's what I was thinking about as I was looking at two armed in uniform police officers at a Nordstrom Rack on a rainy Friday night. That's what terrorism is. It's not some dude on his balcony.
We're terrified.
I mean, that too, but also like the day-to-day looking at concerts. You said you had that thought the other day when you were
at the 4th of July parade.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what does the FBI say? They say over and over and over again for the last 3 years that the biggest threat to American democracy and the biggest threat to our safety is white nationalism.
Coming from the inside.
Yeah.